Today's topic is cruise control modules. And the horse wants to put in her 2 cents. So over Easter, a few days ago, I was down in Houston with family, and a cousin got a new to him 89 Chevy short and wide half-ton two-wheel drive truck. And he said the cruise control didn't work. So we went out and looked at it, and let me show you the basic parts of the cruise control on a vehicle. I have on the cow dog here. Let's go inside first. Obviously, here's the switch. Cruise control switch, the button and the slider. Underneath, you have wiring, a brake light switch or a brake continuity switch for the cruise control, and power, vehicle speed sensor. And then the wiring comes outside to, this is my cruise control module right here with the big 16-pin plug. And then the throttle cable. And I guess you can see it. Maybe not. With very little slack. There's not supposed to be any slack in that. So here's the parts. Let me back up. With the story, I was not in the cow dog or on my trucks. I was in the Porsche down there. So I couldn't go to my binder. I know everybody keeps a binder in their vehicle of what all they got in the vehicle, right? Open my binder up. The very first page is a schematic of the cruise control. I got every wire going somewhere, and A through K on the plug at the cruise control module. Then I have a little cheat sheet of which one is which and what they, there's an ant down there, what they do. I'll get to the plug in a second. But basically what I did Sunday was, this is an AC Electro-Motor Cruise Control System. This is the GM AC manual. I think it's 28 pages. I got this off of 73 to 87 Chevy forum, the S10 forums, and the Camaro forums have this free PDF that I printed listed on them all the time. And it goes through, if you have one of these cruise controls, and we're going to identify the cruise control in a minute, you really need to get, there's the basic module, you need to get this printout, or at least have it on your phone. So I pulled up on my phone and I was showing my cousin and his son what I think is really neat about this. Oh, here. Page 16 and page 17. Page 16 and 17 of that manual is a diagnostic chart. And it takes you through everything you need to do. If you do that and everything still checks out and your cruise control does not work, you have a bad module. Now, why do I know that? Okay, here's the pieces. This is cruise control switch. This is my first switch on the cow dog, and I bought, this is, I think, a $28 eBay item. Back up a little bit. And yes, I have the delay wipers, but the switch is totally separate from the wipers. It just pulls out of the column. Then you have the wire that goes down the column to the plug. The cruise control switch, with its four-bladed, or one blade with 4 contacts, plugs into the cruise control column. And then you have the brake light switch, is also important. Regular brake lights, these, when the pedal is up, there is no continuity between these two here for the brake light. For the GM Electro-Motor Cruise Control, you want continuity when the pedal is up. You can see that. And when you let go of the pedal, no continuity, it turns off the cruise control. This one gives you continuity and turns on your brake lights, if that makes sense. You have to have a double switch because it's opposite the brake light. So to have the Electro-Motor Cruise Control, you have to have a special cruise control switch that is continuity, pedal up, no continuity, pedal down. And yes, where's that contact? Right here. You can hotwire this and put a, you can put a wire in there, a jumper wire. I have done it, testing my switches. And even though they testify on the sitting still, my cruise still didn't work, so I jumpered it. Went down the road, cruise control turned on, and hit the brakes, does not turn off. You gotta turn it off with a switch. You gotta turn that to off to make the cruise control turn off if you jump that switch right there. Don't recommend anybody doing that. All right, so let's see. Switch, brake light, and then you got the orange plug, which has power in, vehicle speed sensor, and a ground. You get those, and then your brake light switch, or your continuity switch. That's it under the dash for wiring. Unless you have a manual transmission, there's also a switch for the clutch. That's it. And then it goes to the module itself. Now, the module, I said 16 pin earlier, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 pin plug. This plugs into the module, okay? I have never been able to find just this plug for sale anywhere. People will sell me part of the wiring harness for $100 on eBay, but no one will sell just that plug so I can repin it. Because these are two of my modules. There's one on the truck that works. This one was working on my truck, and then it just stopped working all of a sudden. Could not make it work again. So I had a spare. This one never worked. I think I got 2 or 3 more in the shop that I bought on eBay. They show up 88 to 99 General Motors vehicles. There's 2 different styles of modules. This is the big one. The 2 back feet, or back holes, 1 front hole. If you see that with the big plug, it'll fit a truck. That's the truck module. The numbers on the side don't really mean all that much. At least I have ordered the exact same number I had. It's inside still. I didn't unbox it. It didn't work. Cruise control modules. Then you got cables. This is the cable. Can you see this? Yeah, you can see this. This is the cable off of a gas engine. This came with one of my replacement modules I bought on eBay. And this goes into there, and you pull the cable tight, and it pops in. That's how you set that. So you can change cables, you can change modules. It's very easy. But adjusting the tension on this is extremely important. If this thing is loose, I think that manual says if you have more than an 1/8 inch of play, it's too loose. There's some that adjust up here, some adjust down here. My diesel version is totally different. But remember I said if your wiring is right, everything checks out, you go through all the tests, and that manual tells you, I got it on my cheat sheet here, that, like my little hand-drawn thing here. This one's ground. Or excuse me, this one is positive. This one, E, can you see this? Yeah. E is ground. The next one over, terminal D, 12 volt if brake not depressed. Brake depressed is 0. The next one, 12 volts if slid to resume. As in you hold that over to RA, hold this to RA, this one has power with your key on. The B output, right here above my thumb, has 12 volts if you push that button. A has 12 volts all the time with the switch on and the ignition on. K up there is the speeds input. You have to have a digital vehicle speed signal. If you get all that, which I got all that, and my truck didn't work. My cruise control would not work. And some of them, the manual says all of them, that if you're driving along, you've not set the cruise control yet, you click to resume, it will set it. This module did that because the reason I replaced this switch is my set switch. I could do that, and about the 10th or 15th time, it would finally set the cruise. Of course, I'm trying to set it at 60, and the time I keep hitting the button, I'm down to 20 miles an hour, or 30 miles an hour. And I'd hit the brake, do it again, back through it again. This was a eBay special switch. Although the lettering's real nice. I replaced it with a 1A auto switch a couple years ago. Now it's doing the same thing. The set button's not working right. And 1A auto, by the way, has the best video, in my opinion, on how to install and remove these switches, because you got to fish this wire out of the column and then put the new one in there. It's a pain. So, all right, let me get closer and down. Get all the way in the shade. These are supposed to be sealed units, and if you take a heat gun, once you pull the 4 screws out, take a heat gun all the way around and pry very gently and gently, it will eventually come off. But I did break this corner when I did that a while ago. But yeah, there's some goop in there that seals it up. But here's also a printed circuit board with all these pins going down to these. This one stopped working on me. So I thought for sure, oh, there's got to be some corrosion in there. So I'll pull it apart. Well, I broke the cover, and everything looked okay. There's no obvious burns or bad solder in there. I did not pull the whole board out. It looked okay to me. It looks good down here. Both leads to the coil are good for the motor, and the way it works is this motor, excuse me, the motor turns a gear underneath here, and then when you turn the cruise control on, that gear pops up and hits this gear. This gear does your speed. And I have seen pictures of this gear being totally raw, just worn down to nothing. There's 4 gears there, and if the alignment's not right, if this solenoid doesn't pick it up right, whatever, it will, or it could, lead to the gear stripping inside. But everything looked good on mine. I don't know why this one didn't work for me. I don't know. But I bought another module, plugged it in, and it worked perfect. Except for I could not, if I turn the key on, drive it, hit that, it doesn't ever set. I have to use this to set. But now my switch from 1A auto doesn't want to set. I got another one in the glove box that is going to be replaced soon. As soon as I want to feel like fishing that thing out of there again, with an AC, new old stock AC Delco unit, which on this stuff is what you have to have. Okay, these modules, 88 to 94 is the exact same wiring diagram. 95 to sometime after 2000, they well, when this went to electronic throttle, they went away. But 99 until electronic throttle for the trucks. So most of the LS's switched to what, 03, 04? Because the 2000s and 01s had cable throttle. when they switched, these went away. The S10 forums, the Camaro forums, have a lot of information about these. But 88 to 94, pretty much you will find these. This is what to look for, is this kind of module. And if someone says it works, it probably does. Because I've had some that say they work, don't work on my truck. Which brings up my other replacement. Why do I have a spare wiring harness? Yes, this. This came off of a 94 Chevrolet 1-ton truck out of a junkyard in Oklahoma City. The guy I bought from said it was good. And sure enough, it was good. It worked for 4 years for me. And then, about this time last year, I could be driving along, and oh yeah, these broken wires, they go over here. Those are from that. I couldn't get it out through around the column without cutting it, so this is my old harness. I was not too sure about these wires because they look kind of flimsy right there. So that's why I got the zip tie on there. I was thinking, well, maybe, because what was happening was I could drive for 12 to 15 minutes. Cruise control, perfect. Engine run time, 12 to 15 minutes. Whether I use the cruise control at all in that time didn't matter. But normally right at 15 minutes, the cruise control would turn off. I'd be cruising along at 30 miles an hour or 75 miles an hour, just off. I hit resume, nothing. You hit set, it works. But then 8 to 12 minutes later, it would turn off again. And it got to where it was turning off every 3 to 5 minutes after the first 2 times of longer time. What's the problem? I checked my plug, I checked everything here, I could not find the problem. And I zip tied the wires in different configurations. I did all the tests, I couldn't figure it out. I found another wiring harness online, I think on eBay. Bought it, installed it. The cruise control has worked every time I've hit it, except for troubles with my switch. The set switch is not always right. I gotta replace that still. But they're really pretty easy, especially with that manual. And again, my cheat sheet for the what you're supposed to have. As long as you have that, it will be working. Now there's a guy up in Illinois, I think it is, on the internet, who sells a $60-some-odd box. You call on the dash, unplug this from the wiring harness, plug it into his box, turn your key on, and you can test all your settings, and he'll tell you if your switch is good or not. That's great. I used a voltmeter and a power probe works this as well. Either way, I tested here. That guy's switch or sensor lights up and whatnot. Test this switch only, doesn't test the module. And doesn't test the wiring. My wiring was bad. I don't know where the break is or where the bad wire is, but I had a bad wire in there. So I had no problem cutting this one off. Now, my square bodies, this is red, and my 1009, my other two, you had to use both tailgates for all the technical support today. I want to add cruise control to them. So I need to find another wiring harness. So since I'm giving away my secrets, don't y'all buy all the ones on eBay, because there hasn't been one on eBay in months. Oh, the trucks to get them from are 88 to 94. After 94, the diesel trucks at least. And the diesel, you have to have a special throttle cable. So I need to have the special throttle cable for my two 1009s here. And the diesel truck, the throttle cable, the bracket and the end are different. So I'm going to start going to junkyards, I think, and looking for 90 to 94 trucks, 88 to 94 trucks that have cruise control but no computer controlled injection pump. That's the ones you need. There's a bracket that goes onto the, and I'll show you. There's a bracket that goes on the throttle housing, and then the end is different. So this is my cruise control And this little add-on right here, you have to have it. You can see it from the side. This little piece right here, going to there. Can you see that? Sure you can. Yeah, that piece with the two bolts holding on to the regular throttle stand. So, I added cruise control to this truck. This truck did not come with this cruise control. I added it, and works good. Want to add it to these two. Get all the comforts you can. So hopefully that helps somebody.